Hi, everyone. Welcome to a visual arts community for teachers just like you, elementary art teachers. Welcome back. I'm Sarah Rising, the moderator for the elementary visual art community. Today, I'm going to share with you some ideas on advocating for your art program at your school. I'm breaking this presentation down into three parts, and I'll pose three questions at the end of each presentation. Please remember to subscribe so you don't miss any discussion posts or any of the other fun. And remember to participate in the discussions so that we can all collaborate and work together. As I mentioned, this webinar is titled Let's Advocate for Art Education. And the first thing I'm going to cover with you guys today is a series of articles, ideas, and tips that I've come across in my research. I'd like to start by saying that we need to remember that these ideas are one person's point of view, so they're not the be-all, end-all for what we should guide our practices after, but take it for what it's worth. One of the reasons I did this particular presentation is if you are like me, you find it hard to put into words what you need to say. So today we're going to cover the importance of art education. Then I'll go on in part 2 and talk about connecting with community. And part 3 will cover showtime, presenting and showcasing your students' work. So as I kind of alluded to, let's use today's time to get inspired. I often find when it's hard to put in words when people say, why do you think art education is so important? Thinking off the cuff like that sometimes kind of just like silences me. And we know from experiences why art education is important. We know in our heart why it's important, but I thought I'd share some expert writings about what makes art education such an important component of our educational system today. Here I've just cited 3 short blurbs, and then with each of the blocks, I've included a link to the websites if you want to go in and read for more detail. I've just pulled a little bit out of each topic. The first one, it talks about art doesn't solve problems, but it makes us aware of their existence. The sculptor mentioned that art education, on the other hand, does solve problems. And she notes that there's years of research that show that it's closely linked to almost everything that we as a nation say we want for our children and that we demand from our schools. We want academic achievement. We want social and emotional development, civic engagement, and equitable opportunity. And this sculptor believes that arts education does all of that. And again, you can click here to read the rest of the story. Another article from the Americans for the Arts organization mentions that arts are essential because they teach students innumerable lessons. They note that practice makes perfect. Small differences can have large effects. Collaboration leads to creativity. And they go on to write, the arts also teach children that there are several paths to take when approaching problems and that all problems can have more than one solution. They again cite that research shows impressive benefits of arts education for the entire school, especially on student motivation, attitudes, and attendance. And again, you can go in and read that one for more details. Finally, this article talks about how engaging with art is essential to the human experience. They cite that as soon as children's skills are developed, they communicate through artistic expression. So they're doing that before they can write, before they can read. They go on to say the arts challenge us with different points of view. They compel us to empathize with others and give us the opportunity to reflect on the human condition. And again, more evidence that support those claims. So if you are interested, go on and read those articles. I've also included, and I'm not going to present this to you, you can go back and read it, but we are often faced with what is creativity? What does it mean to be creative? And this is a great read that talks about creativity being more than art. So I think a lot of people mistakenly assume that the only creative people are artists. And we know in this day and age that's not the case. And as art educators, that can be often on us to kind of encourage our kids on a path of creativity with the work that we do. Speaking of creativity, we all know the Albert Einstein quote, creativity is intelligence having fun. But I like to think of it as more than having fun. And lots of people out there feel the same, especially today. Why are we focusing so much in the 21st century on creativity? We all know that we need creative people to help keep up with the pace of change in our world and to discover new ways to make this world we live on a better place. And again, creativity is often assumed to be an artistic form instead of a framework of thinking, and that it's useful when we're looking at modeling numbers or writing code or doing reality testing, or re-engineering a process. So in our classrooms, I like to think that creativity is a safe place where people can be vulnerable and learn from each other's ideas. I love this story. A legal professional wrote about risk taking as it relates to art making. And he wrote that there was a local painter in his community who offered classes every few weeks, and people in the community could come and learn how to paint. The author noted that he completed 4 of these paintings not because he wanted to become an artist. He attended the sessions because it helped him see the world differently. What a thought. He mentioned that when he was painting, he learned about the various dimensions of a solution. He learned how to mix the components, the mediums, how to make things flow together in a way that heightened his visual experience. He learned how to adjust when things didn't go as planned. And he also mentioned that he learned to recognize that some of those mistakes led to better outcomes. He said he learned to value his own creativity and recognize the difference between inspiration and perfection. This article really struck home with me because those are all the things that we are trying to teach our kids. So when someone asks why we teach art or why the arts are important, I think a story like this is a great analogy for just why we do that. Another piece that I found in my research, this artist, I don't know if you're familiar with him, he's a speed painter, Eric Wall. He's a graffiti artist, he's an author and a motivational speaker who speaks often on creativity. And what he wrote was also kind of got me thinking. He says, the purpose of art is not to produce a product. The purpose of art is to produce thinking. So if you think about that, that's exactly what we're trying to do as educators. He mentions that artwork should be an active verb, not a passive noun. He said that creativity doesn't lie in the done, but in the doing. That art is active, it's always shifting, it's always becoming. It's a sneak peek into the future of potential and of what it could be. He mentions that art is not a past result of what has already been done, but that art is a process, not a product. Art is a human act, it's risky, it's generous, it's courageous, and it's provocative. So again, I hope that I can get you guys thinking about all the whys we do what we do. These short little snippets got me thinking, so I hope they do the same for you guys. What I'd like to do as we wrap up is just kind of pick your brain, and if you guys would respond to our discussion question about your thoughts on the importance of art education. What are some of the things that we didn't mention here? And boy, I'm sure there are lots. So remember to share your thoughts in our discussion, and hopefully we can get some good dialogue going back and forth. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.